Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Mortgage Boss Talk Tuesday on Wednesday. I'm trying so hard to be as consistent as I can possibly be. And even if that means coming on a day late, I am still here. I'm still showing up. And that's what it's all about. I'm trying to create some consistency and build my audience and bring information to you as I see fit. And build this community the way that I want to make sure it's still valuable and yet entertaining to you. So thank you so much for showing up for me. And I was almost on time. I got my turtleneck on. So for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you'll get that inside joke. I'm fully covered up today. Oh my gosh, you have no idea, y'all. I love YouTube. It has brought me some laughter. Oh, hey, Terrell. Shout out to Terrell. Thank you for joining me, Terrell. And who else we got here? B. Frank. Oh, hey, look at you. Thanks for joining me. What you say? I need to shorten that chain. I covered it up. It is totally covered up. There is no chain. There is nothing to see but my chin up. I'm telling you, when I got that email, I was like, is this a phishing email? Because they'll send out the phishing email. And I'm thinking, gosh, this is really good when it's awfully specific. They even knew what I had on today. I realized it was serious with that good link to the Bible. But, I do want to glorify God in His kingdom. I appreciate everybody's opinions. I really do. It was valuable feedback. But anyway, y'all, today, y'all, more people. Hey, everybody, listen, as y'all come in, please go ahead and do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're new here, thank you so much for popping by. I hope y'all stay with me for the full hour or so. Make sure you subscribe, and if you find this content to be valuable, please make sure that you are sharing it with somebody. Salute. Hey, Sam, thank you for joining me. I love it. Y'all, today I have a great topic. I made some qualitative observations on my own. A lot of the things that I see as mortgage loan applications and things come across my desk. I am privy to information that other people are not privy to. I get to see the most intimate details of people's marriages and their lives as it pertains to their finances and as it pertains to their credit. And it's so funny. One of the conversations that I have on another channel is always about income. And, certain segments of the population make less money, and people only earn, $40,000. And, I have my own opinions, but my opinions that I have are based on qualitative research, not quantitative. So that means scenarios and things that I see and things that I experience. That's just as valuable as any census data that somebody decides to collect. And so one of the biggest things that I have noticed is that the population of people buying houses is getting younger and younger and younger. What's up? Hey, everybody. And today I want to talk about Gen Z versus everybody. Let me take a look in the chat real quick and catch up. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, y'all are talking to each other. Hey, out here trucking. How you doing? Look, you see me looking up here. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if you follow. You follow me on IG? If you don't follow me on IG, go look at my IG story before I take it down so y'all can see the fan mail that I got yesterday. I have a turtleneck on. Don't want to tempt anybody. I don't want to be the floozy of finance around here. I cracked myself up. All right. Hey, Professor Cutie Pie. Thank you for coming back. Thank you so much for joining me, y'all. Listen, I'm talking about Gen Z versus everybody. This year, 2023, is expected to be the third largest purchase market as it pertains to home purchases and the originations that we are expected to have. And a lot of the conversations, again, qualitative research that I'm having is that a lot of people are very timid about getting into the market because the home prices are really high and people feel like the interest rates are going up and it's quite frankly unaffordable or unattainable. And so I want to talk a little bit about who's winning and why. Last January, so 90 days ago or so, on the final day of my 39th a year of life, I did a video about what I saw as far as who I saw was buying houses. And I want to share this video with you real quick just to kind of get everything started. And again, like I said, this is just based on my conversations, the research that I've done, what I see. And hang on, I hope y'all be able to hear this. I always struggle when it comes to me sharing stuff. So just bear with me, please. I hope this works. Hang on. Take a look at this. Approved. And so, because their income is really variable, but they make a lot of money. And so when I was doing it, I was looking at my pipeline and all the closed loans that I had, and I realized that a lot of the people that purchased homes and I did their loan for last year were actually single women, and they were millennials or Gen Zers. And so one of the ones I was really super proud about, she had her mom help her. I think she couldn't have been no more than like 23 or 24 years old, which kind of reminded me of me because I bought my first house when I was 22 years old when I was in college. So I remember being in college though, and I probably had a boyfriend or something. I don't know. I can't remember that far back. Y'all know my age, right? But anyway, I remember having conversations that, I was like, oh, when I graduate, I'm gonna get a house and all of the things. And, you imagine that, your first job, you're gonna be making $1 million. That was wrong. And so I actually did end up purchasing a townhome. And I got it for $127,000. It was 1,500 square feet, 2 bed, 2.5 bathroom. I had a 1-car garage, honey. I had it going all the way on. And my classmates, a lot of them were saying, well, I don't know. I don't want to buy a house. I don't think I'm gonna buy. I don't want to buy a house until I get married. You don't want to buy a house till you get married? What? So today, that's what we're gonna talk about. All right. So I hope y'all saw that. All right. Listen. Everything I just said was recorded. I think it said, what was this, January the 9th? Well, check this out. On February I don't know what day it was, but look at this article. Because I'm sharing this because I want to qualify my statement about my observations and things that I see, my qualitative research. So give me a second here. I'm gonna share this real quick. Y'all, this is so much more challenging than I thought it would be. Look at this title right here. Look at this title right here. Single women racing ahead of men in homeownership. And it goes on to talk about why. This was dated February the 2nd. So only a couple of weeks after I said that that's what I thought was happening. And this article that we're talking about today that was posted in Forbes magazine is merely 90 days after I'd already made the observation that these kids, these Gen Zers, are leaving us in the dust. So I want to know, I've already shared when I was 22 or 23, I bought my first townhome. Do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat if you have already purchased a home, or put a 2 in the chat if you're still on the fence and you're still waiting. And then I want to know, how old were you when you first bought your house? Put a 1 in the chat if you already purchased a home. Put a 2 in the chat if you're still waiting. And then, if you already purchased, I want to know, how old were you when you got your first home? Look at this. Sim said, I have a lifetime to keep up. You hiding that springtime. Absolutely not. Nothing of the sort. Nothing like that. Oh, okay. A lifestyle. I'm like, a lifetime. Yes. No, nothing like that at all. No, sir. You say I'm reacting to myself. That's how I know I made it. Not yet. It was that fan mail that did it for me. That's how I know I'm gonna make it. I can't wait to get this 100,000 subscribers. But y'all gotta like and share and subscribe so I can get my 100,000 subscribers and share more of my fan mail with you. Oh my God. All right, so we got a few ones. Terrell said he was 23. Oh, okay, that's impressive. Terrell is 23. B, you got your house. That was like last year. You were 34 years old when you got yours. All right. So you looking for a fourplex. That's great. Sim, how old are you? Are you a Gen Zer? Or we're the same age? It's Professor Cutie Pie for me at age 18. That's what I'm talking about. And this is exactly what we're seeing. This is exactly what we're seeing. Okay, you're 39. This is exactly what we're starting to see. The housing market is tough, and I'm not going to like discount that or anything like that. But what we're starting to see is that the housing market is being skewed significantly younger. There's an article here that I was reading yesterday. That I think this is the article. Yeah, here it is. This article here, it says that Gen Z is ahead of millennials and their parents in owning their homes. And this just solidified what I already knew, something that I called out back in January. And this came out April 21st, just for the record. This is something that I saw, something I called out in January. Not only are women dusting men, and it's not a male female thing, I just want to highlight just the demographics of what we're talking about. And not only are the women dusting men in home ownership, the younger generation is dusting the older generation. And I want to talk about why, some of the things that we might be able to do about it to make sure that, millennials are able to secure home ownership too. But it was something that I found to be very, very interesting. So who are we talking about exactly? So I want to make sure everybody knows where they are in terms of their age. So a Gen X person would be somebody who's our parents, if you're a millennial. So someone born between the years of 1965 and 1980. You are a Gen X person. Gen Y was later rebranded as Gen Z. Later rebranded as being a millennial. And that means you were born between the years of 1981 and 1996. And then if you are Gen Z, that is the years of 1997 through 2013. I don't know what these kids are being called as being born now, though. So if y'all know, let me know. Let me find out. Are they aliens? What are they? Because they let me keep my social commentary to myself. I don't know what they call, but just like I said, just to make sure that you know where you are, and then know the ages of some of your family members and friends in terms of being able to connect their behaviors and their conversations with what this data is supporting. So it says 30% of 25-year-olds in 2022 own their homes in 2022. That is higher than the millennials. So 30% of Gen Z versus 28% of the millennials. Now, this is a little bit below what it used to be, with for the Gen Xers, which they're at 27%. But as you see, the younger everybody skews, the more you're starting to see home ownership. Gen Z is dusting us, as I said. They have about a 69, it says here, Gen Z is ahead of their parents' generation. Millennials are still tracking behind the 62% of 40-year-old millennials that own a home in 2022 compared to the 69% of home ownership that baby boomers had at that age. Well, when we start talking about the market and how it's not enough houses on the market and why we're not seeing enough homes being built, and for those of you that don't know, and you might not have heard me say this before, there is a 6 million unit housing shortage. So is the market going to turn and we're going to get houses half off? That's not going to happen because of a simple supply and demand issue. It is not on the way. I'm so sorry to tell you, if you haven't heard that, that's where we are. Because of that, we know that the average age, because we look at all types of data. So whenever you see any type of forecasting, they're taking into account the number of loan applications that have been taken, which that information is tracked. They're taking into account the number of closed loans that are being sold to the secondary market. That is being tracked. They're looking at economic indicators such as housing starts whenever, permits are being pulled. And if you don't know, you can check your local municipality to see where they're rezoning and what type of permits are being issued, to know what type of communities or commercial structures are going to be coming soon in your area. They're also looking at historical data, birth rates, inflation rates, and looking at certain market trends, employment. All of those things help shape and mold the conversations that you hear on CNBC that trickle down to social media and lead to rumors like we had over the past weekend about the interest rates, which I'll touch on that a little bit later. We know that the average age of a first-time home buyer is 33 years old. So there you are, millennials, right? We also know, looking back at the historical data, there was a semi-baby boom of sorts. So that is another indicator that lets us know that we are still going to be in a seller's market. It's not going to flip to a buyer's market. We don't have the houses, and there are a lot of people coming of age that are going to hit the market. But this newfound information, as far as understanding, like Gen Z is buying houses before they were expected to, that is going to impact the housing market as well. So let's see. So let's talk about some of the factors that could be impacting these age groups. Now, I was born in 1983, so I always jokingly say I'm a millennial. Like I was one of the first, but I'm still a millennial nonetheless. So I'm not old. I'm young. I'm young. I'm hip. Whatever. And so when I was born, before I was born, Ronald Reagan was president. So you had Reaganomics that, had this top-down, trickle-down approach. We had the crack epidemic that impacted certain segments of the culture, particularly African-American community was impacted disproportionately. Those people own homes, and they were born again between 1965 and 1980. This is post-integration. This is when we have fair housing laws that are in place. You have the ability to go and vote for who represents you in Congress and in your local areas. there are lots and lots of opportunities because people are coming fresh off the heels of civil rights and wanting the opportunity to own homes and purchase homes. And what we have found is that people in the Black community, particularly, purchased homes at a significantly higher rate than we do now. 40 years have gone by, and we have the lowest housing purchase rate in our community since integration started. And that's really a very sad reflection, but it is something that matters when we're talking about the context of what is causing us to not purchase homes at the same rate that Gen Zers are. So millennials were born 1981 to 1996. The student loan epidemic. I mean, I know I'm impacted by it. There was legislation that was introduced where you are no longer able to have your student loans dismissed in bankruptcies. You go owe them loans till you die. I don't know about y'all, but that's my plan. That's my repayment plan. Okay. You have the student loan epidemic. You have a culture of, the only way that you can get ahead in society, get ahead in life is to go to college, go to a 4-year college, get your student loan debt so you can get a good job, get the good job so you can pay back your student loan debt, and the vicious cycle continues. That is something that is impacting us. Once we graduated, I graduated in 2001 from college. There was a recession. I remember being in college and they told us it would take us at least 6 months to be able to find a job. 6 to 9 months to find a job. The economy was slow. We found a job. I thought my first job, I was going to be making $1 million. I think I got a job making $30,000 a year. I had an apartment, rent $650. Life was great. Okay. Far different from what these Gen Zers lives look like right now. We also dealt with some economic and housing trauma when the bubble burst and the housing collapse started. So if you were in the era of 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, you may have seen, experienced, and heard you didn't need no money to buy a house. You may have seen and experienced and heard that, they were gonna, allow you to get homes because you were a first-time home buyer. You didn't need to put any money down. You had your closing costs paid for. You didn't need to show proof of income. All types of things that were triggered by the Clinton administration to increase homeownership, particularly in the Black community. Well, I don't know if you heard, but it didn't work out so well. Okay. It backfired. And so the bubble burst, the housing market collapsed in 2008. Lots of people were laid off. Fast forward to 2012, 13, 14, 15, things went all the way down and they started to come back up. And now this is our first decade of being real adults. Okay, we've been able to vote a couple of times. We've been in jobs. We've probably been laid off. So at this point, millennials, we are full-blown adults. Okay, got the student loans to prove it, all of that. Got the debt to prove it, everything. We in there. Well, what happened? Unlike our parents' generation, where you were taught to get one job, stay at the job for 40 years, save your money up for a down payment, go to the bank with your suit on, sit down and convince them that you needed that $65,000 to buy your dream home, it was totally different. We have been scarred with the idea of, oh my gosh, I can't afford this mortgage. I'm going to rent. Oh my gosh, I'm probably not going to keep this job. I'm going to have 6, 7, 8 jobs. I might not live in Charlotte but a year or two, and I'm going to move. Oh my gosh, I am, I should be able to get a home loan without any money down. All these things. And like I said, the trauma of seeing your family and friends be evicted and foreclosed upon because of bad policies. All of these things have caused millennials to be very, very hesitant when it comes to owning a home. Now, if you see on my thumbnail, I highlighted 3 ladies that are very well known in pop culture. I highlighted Reginae Carter, who is the daughter of rapper Lil Wayne. I highlighted Angela Simmons, who is the daughter of one of the rappers from Run DMC. And I highlighted Zanique, who is Tiny from Escape's daughter. Zanique purchased her home when she was 22 years old. Lil Wayne's daughter, Reginae, purchased a home when she was 20. And last year, Angela Simmons, the eldest of the three, purchased her first home at the tender age of 35 years old. So if you think about what I said earlier, it goes right back to that time frame that I just said is the first time home buyer's age. But contrast that with Tiny's daughter and Lil Wayne's daughter, and you see it's quite a gap that's there. They have completely different attitudes and outlooks on life because they are part of this EYL, Earn Your Leisure network. They are a part of this hustle culture. They have access to information that we did not have access to because Facebook did not come out until I think I was a senior in college. So they have access to information that we didn't have access to. They're not going to just one job. They are earning adult incomes in college because they are social media influencers. And when I say they, I'm referring to the entire generation, not just the three ladies that I just spoke about. So they have a lot going for themselves. They had the benefit of the first Black president, Barack Obama. They had the benefit of the millennial generation realizing they were completely being crushed by student loan debt. Which, side note, I know I mentioned that we couldn't get our debts dismissed in bankruptcy, but guess who did? Gen X. They were able to get their debts dismissed. These doctors and lawyers running around that had accrued all of the student loans, wiped clean. Let me file bankruptcy real quick. So there's some disadvantages or advantages on both sides of the millennial generation as it pertains to home buying. Are we victims? Do you think that millennials are victims of situations that were outside of our control? Because this article here, it says millennials have been financially unlucky. Parents had a straightforward financial journey. They did. They absolutely did. You got one job, you got one degree, you stuck to it. You lived your life. You didn't have a lot of other options. Now, these younger people are getting jobs, that they're creating jobs. They're working for themselves. They're doing a lot of things that we did not have access to. Sam, what did you say? Are they not all celebrity children? Social lights make women. No, what I'm telling you. So at the beginning of what I was saying, I want to qualify this. They're just examples of a culture, because if you look at some of the celebrities that were celebrities when we came up, they didn't buy houses when they were 21 and 22 years old. It wasn't the norm. It's not something that we did. And as I sit here as a regular person and I take loan applications throughout the year, these loan applicants, the ages are skewing significantly lower. Significantly lower. They're female, they're single, and they're young. So it has nothing to do with them being, quote unquote, celebrities. Because if that was the case, Angela Simmons would have bought a house a long time ago. She grew up rich. Wasn't she on a show called Growing Up Hip Hop? Growing Up Rich Hip Hop or something? That has nothing to do with that. Not from what I'm seeing. It has everything to do with knowledge. Knowledge is power. And they are learning. I mean, I hate TikTok, but it is providing a level of education. It's providing a level of community. It's providing them with access to lifestyles that they didn't even know existed, people that they would have never known otherwise. And I guess it's influencing them in a pretty positive way. I don't know. So let's see. Very different cultures. So that leads me to this. I have one more article that I wanted to share. This is it. Here. And this article highlights some of the why. One of the things that we're starting to see is people are willing to move. Some of the challenges to home ownership include where you are, how much money you make, how much money you have saved, right? This generation don't give a flying flip where they live. They don't care. They're willing to move wherever to get whatever bag. They're remote workers, and they're like, I don't mind moving to Seattle. This article here, it says that this woman is she's a self-described hustler, got her first job at 14. After doing a bit of research and dipping into her savings, she flew from the San Francisco Bay Area to Cincinnati during the pandemic. Got a 2-bedroom house for $100,000 at age 22. It says she had no plans to move to Ohio. Instead, she did what many real estate investors do. She touched up a property and threw it on the rental market. That is not uncommon. I cannot begin to tell you how many kids, and I say kids, they're clearly adults, but relative to my age, they're kids. And instead of the first property they get being a house that they want to live in, they're like, oh, no. I live with my mama, but I want to get an investment property. They're looking at Earn Your Leisure and attending events like Invest Fest, where they talk about house hacking and all of these wealth building strategies, and they have different mindsets. They're looking at it like, oh, I have to set myself up so that I'm getting passive income. I was grown before I thought about passive income. When we were thinking about passive income and retirement, it was directly related to 401k and the stock market. And I have seen in my lifetime the stock market lose people's life savings more than once. So that's kind of what clued me in. 401k might not be the key to financial freedom anymore. And these kids get it. These kids get it. They understand. They are going for the bag. Do you hear me? She's a member of Gen Z. Unlike millennials before them, Gen Zers have grown up during a boom in home prices. As the older members of generation embark on careers, a growing number are turning to real world real estate investing as an escape from the shackles of a desk. Now, I don't know if you guys follow, it's this TikToker. His name is Andre Brown. He is absolutely hilarious. He went to Morehouse. Shout out to the HBCUs. He went to Morehouse, and he has grown quite a following and actually has earned millions of dollars now because he would post these little TikToks talking about the attitudes that Gen Zers have toward the work environment. We laugh and say, oh, them kids, they don't want to work. They don't understand work. They don't understand hard work. Not only do they not understand it, they don't want to understand it. And they are rewriting the rules on working and rewriting the rules on earning money and investing. And so with technology and know-how that previous generations could only have dreamed of at their age, these Gen Zers are eager to get in on the real estate action. And that's true. So look at what they have that we don't have in terms of being a millennial. One, they're more open to moving to places that we're not. When we started thinking about financial opportunity, financial freedom, economic opportunities. What did we say we was gonna do? I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm moving to Atlanta, girl. Now they want to go to Houston. I don't know what's going on over there. But apparently it's the move. That's us, right? Not these kids. They like, send me to Kentucky. These kids like, send me to Oklahoma. Send me where the real estate is cheap so I can buy a lot of it. It's very, very different attitudes. And this is why they are eclipsing us. They don't have the scars that we have, nor the expectations that we have. When I say scars, I'm referencing the recession, the housing recession that we experienced. And I'm also referencing these unrealistic expectations about what the homeowner or the home buyer is supposed to do to be able to attain home ownership. We millennials have been programmed to think that you are not supposed to spend your own money to purchase a home. Anytime that I talk to people about home buying, do you want to know who is asking me about down payment assistance the most? Who do you think is asking about down payment assistance and using other people's money to buy a house? It's us. It's millennials. And you know what's happening? I'll be in a full-blown conversation with an applicant that's a Gen Zer. They've shown me that they have the money. They've shown me that they have the income. All these things. And do you know what ends up happening when I say, okay, you need $24,000, you need $25,000? I'll get a call the next day. I was talking to my mom, and my mom said that I'm a first-time home buyer and I should be able to get some money. Completely different attitude, totally different mindset. We're stuck in 2012 as millennials because coming out of the recession, there were lots of financial incentives to get these vacant homes off the market. We do not have those vacant homes on the market anymore. And because we no longer have that particular housing market, we don't have those incentives anymore. But our minds are stuck on that. And we think that that's the way it's supposed to be, which is causing us to be sidelined. When interest rates were 3%, oh no, the market's too fast. These kids came on in, they were swooping it up. They didn't care. Charlotte has grown significantly in the past 5-10 years or so. I think there are 100 people a day that move to Charlotte. And they're mostly coming from the north. New Yorkers are coming down with their high incomes. People from the west are coming with their high incomes. And they don't hesitate to get a $600,000 house. They do it all the time. But people that are our age, that were turning 30 years old in 2012, felt, oh no, I should be using somebody else's money to buy a house. Why would I have to save my own? And that is what I personally see that I see that is holding the millennials back and causing us to purchase homes at a significantly slower pace. Just my qualitative analysis, you know. Hang on. You said we all the same age. We are all the same age. We were all going through life at the same time. And so you guys should be able to identify with what I'm saying. We do have some challenges as it pertains to, getting into the housing market. If you've not already gotten into the housing market, it's expensive. And before I end, I want to go through a couple of different strategies to help you be able to get into the housing market if you've not gotten into the housing market. The school age kids are Gen A. Are you for real? Is that what they call them? Seriously? Celeste, are you serious or are you joking? Are they really called Gen A? I told did I say aliens? They different pandemic babies. Like, why are you walking and talking? You 9 months old. You can hold a whole conversation. Mm-hmm. You so Sim, and if I'm not mistaken, I really hope I'm not wrong, but he's a part of the FIRE movement. I can't remember what FIRE stands for, but it's about being financially free. Um, so you work really, really hard, live minimally to be able to retire early. Is that right? Financially independent, retiring early or something. I can't remember the acronym. But he says, I agree. And by the way, Sim also has a channel where he shares information about finances. And guys, please go check that out. He said, I agree. It does look like they're taking advantage of access they have today. Applied knowledge is power. Absolutely. Because if you're not applying training, it's just information. That's the biggest part. Application is always the most important. Hey, King, thank you for popping by. Oh, God, it is. Okay, Gen A. Whatever. I like our names better, Millennials. It sounds so futuristic. I thought for sure we'd be flying around like the Jetsons by now, but not so much. Not so much. 28 art. Oh, hey, 2B. Hey, how you doing, girl? Thank you for stopping by. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, guys, and like that for me. I really appreciate the support. So she says, my kids are 7 and 8, and they said amongst themselves they're called the Generation Genius. Oh, what? However, they want to make sure that I caution you, it is probably a copyrighted name. Okay. Get me together. All right. Well, please ask them. I'll tell them I will write for express permission to be able to use it on this channel. Generation Genius. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, okay. You at work? So, guys, so I said all of that to say, um, part of my channel, most of my channel's purpose is to help people become homeowners by equipping them with the education tools and strategies that they need. I always say I provide real estate advice for real people in real life. And I do think that sometimes some of the information and strategies that are out there are a bit lofty. And I also think that sometimes some of the things that we tend to be attracted to are the things that are easy and not actually practical. If nothing else, you cannot get a house for free. You're not getting a free house. You're not, nothing is going to happen. Nothing's coming on the horizon that is going to cause houses to, be half off. It is just simply not true. It is not going to happen. That day is not going to come. So if you are a millennial, you have to now recognize the same way I used to tell my kids when I was teaching school. You all are not competing with each other. You're not competing with the people in the room with you. You're competing with people all around the world. And so now, as 40-year-olds, we're competing with 20-year-old children for houses, if you can imagine that. And we have to equip ourselves accordingly. And I recognize the housing challenges that we have. We have rising costs, we have limited inventory, and we have extreme competition. Let me tell you about the housing market here in North Carolina real quick, just so you can completely understand. In North Carolina, we have earnest money and due diligence. So earnest money is everywhere. It's basically, hey, Sim, I want to buy your house. Your house is $300,000. Sim, I'm here's $2,000. I'm very serious about buying my house. If the house doesn't appraise, or if for some reason I decide to change my mind and I can't get financing or something like that, something happens by the due diligence date, then I get my little $2,000 back and we part our ways. In North Carolina, you do due diligence money and you do earnest money. So now I'm by Celeste's house. Celeste, I'm by your $300,000 house, and Celeste has 6 offers, five offers. Okay. Celeste has 5 offers on her house. And what Celeste is going to do, she's going to take those offers and she's going to spread them out, and she's going to look, because in North Carolina, we have the earnest money I just told you about and due diligence. Earnest money goes to escrow and it's applied toward your bottom line once you close the loan. Due diligence money, however, is money that I'm going to write a check directly to Celeste and give her, and she can go ahead and she can cash it that day, spend the money, whatever she's going to do, because I can't get that money back. I am so serious about buying this house. I'm willing to lose whatever that amount of money was. And let me tell you, in the state of North Carolina, how much that due diligence can be. I got 5, Celeste got 5 offers, okay, on a $300,000 house. So one of the offers, I'm gonna offer you $310,000, $2,000 in earnest money. Another, I'm gonna offer, $320,000 in earnest money. Another, I'm gonna offer you $350,000 and only $1,000 in earnest money, and so on and so on. I'm sorry, not earnest money, due diligence money. It becomes a function of looking at the offers and it not even being so much about, are you offering more in purchase price, but it becomes a function of who's going to give me the most money up front that I don't have to give back. And that due diligence money is what's locking a lot of people in North Carolina out of the housing market, which is why I say you can't get a house with no money. You've got to be able to compete. It is very, very, very competitive. I had a young lady earlier today. She lost out. She had plenty of money. It was like a $350,000 townhome. She lost it. Somebody offered more. It'll be another one. No big deal. It's all good. But that's why I say it is a very, very competitive market. You have, 3, 4, 5 offers on one property, or even more. And if you don't have the money to be able to walk away, if you don't like something in the transaction, or if your financing falls through, you have to be able to have enough money that you're willing to lose it. I know someone personally. I'm lying. I have a friend. She works for another lender, and the guy had put up like 40,000 in due diligence or something like that, and he changed his mind. He was like, whatever. He didn't care about losing the money. Those are the type of people that you're competing with. So your mindset has to be in alignment with that. We're in a market where the sellers are not selling. Why would I sell my house if I got a 3% interest rate to trade up for a 7% interest rate? That doesn't make any sense. These baby boomers, they have nowhere to go. They can't afford to go anywhere because a lot of them don't have the finances to be able to purchase something more expensive. Their homes are probably already paid off because, again, the way that they grew up, you get a house, you stay in it, you don't go anywhere. So that's how we, it's something that's impacting their generation as well as the generations that trickle down from that are younger than that. It's impacting millennials and being able to buy homes. And that is contributing to the limited inventory that we're seeing. They don't want to move. One suggestion that I have, if you are somebody that already owns a home, please sell your home to a family and not to an investor. The companies were coming in and they were buying up the block. I remember the house literally across the street from me. I watched it be sold. Zillow bought the house. Zillow's out of the market of purchasing homes now, but Zillow bought the house. And They went up, and I mean, I literally could see out the window. Zillow bought the house. Y'all, they bought the house and literally within 7 days increased the purchase price like $30,000. And I'm like, what did they do? Change the doorknobs? They didn't do anything. They didn't put new flooring in, anything. They just jacked up the price. Somebody came along, an investor, bought the house. And now it's renters in it. And it's going to be renters in it for 30 years. These companies are not coming up off these investment properties. So if you have a friend that's wanting to sell their home, please encourage them to sell it to a family and not an investor, because we don't have enough inventory. Like I said before, we had a 6 million unit housing shortage. We can't build 6 million houses in a day. Which leads me to the third thing. What's causing that? Why are companies or builders not building? Well, zoning restrictions, new regulations, taxes, subsidies. What happens is whenever they want to, build, let's say there's 40 acres, they have to go through a lot of work in the background to be able to build on it. If it's zoned for commercial, now it has to be zoned for residential. There's a lot that these builders put into the properties before they're even built, and they pass that cost on to you. But one thing that we can do is petition the legislature and say, hey, like, what y'all doing? Roll back some of the regulations. What can you do to help subsidize the cost for some of the first-time home buyers? Now, I will tell you, one of the things that I have been hearing is they're considering lowering closing costs or finding other ways to lower the closing costs, or making companies absorb some of the closing costs. And the things that I hear, these are years and years and years and years away. I knew about a 40-year mortgage coming 3 years ago. So these things are years and years away. But understand that the housing costs are what they are just because ain't nobody making them change it. Ain't nobody making them do anything about it. Hey, girl. Shout out to you. And Alan is a co-host on my other channel, on my Unsolicited Opinion podcast. You see, I got my turtleneck on, girl. Not gonna catch me slipping today. I'm telling you. But lastly, y'all, here are some quick strategies, and I'm gonna get out of here. Here's some quick strategies that I would like to suggest to you in terms of you moving into your first home or purchasing a home, period. Thing number one, your location. Your location is very important. If that means moving to a smaller, more rural area, then do that. If it means moving to an entirely different state, that if your budget says that you can only buy $250,000 house, move to those states. There are 4 states. I forgot which ones they are. There are 4 states that still have starter homes below $200,000. Are you willing to move? If you're a millennial, my guess is no. But I just told you, the Gen Zers, they have absolutely no problem with doing so. The second thing, look for homes that you're willing to make perfect. Your first house is not necessarily your forever home. We are not Gen, whatever letter it was, Xers or baby boomers. We don't have that type of lifestyle. We move in shape on a regular basis. Get the house, fix it up, put some new doorknobs on it, hang some curtains, paint the walls, DIY the floors. It's lots of YouTube channels that will teach you how to do all of these things. Make the house perfect for you. I purchased a Lennar home. It was brand new. I hated the kitchen. I got a new kitchen like 3 years after I moved in. You can always make changes. Your home does not have to be your forever home. It doesn't have to be perfect today. It can be perfect tomorrow if you put just a little bit of love and a little bit of money into it. Also, save your money. As I just shared with you, it is very, very, very important that you understand, if you have no money, you are not competing with people that don't have money. You are competing with people that have lots of money. And they are willing to lose lots of money to be able to get into these houses. They are willing to lose $8, $10, $15,000 onto the next. I see it all the time. I see it every single day. Y'all wouldn't believe some of the stuff that I see. But I'm telling you, save your money, because down payment assistance and these programs and things that are advertised on TikTok, they can be nooses around your neck. And I literally mean it. There is no such thing as free money. This down payment assistance may require you to live in a house for 15 years. It may require you to live in the house for 30 years. It may not allow you to rent it out. It may be something that you have to pay back. It may be a scenario like out in California, they have a 20% down program where they say, we'll give you the 20% down, but when you sell the house, you got to give us our 20% back, and we're going to take up to 15% of whatever equity that you built in the house on top of that. So then what has been the point of you getting a house? You got to read the fine print. There is nothing free. And the only people that feel that way are millennials. We are the only generation that feels like housing is supposed to be our birthright. And unfortunately, it's just not. So save your money, as much money as you can. My recommendation for how much money that you should save, at least 6 to 7% of your purchase price. 3% down is the minimum down payment for a first-time home buyer, in case you didn't know. 5% is the minimum down payment for someone that has previously owned a home in the last 3 years. And then you have to have money to pay your closing costs. Because again, if you Celeste and you got 5 offers in front of you and somebody's offering to give you $20,000 up front and walk away from the house if it doesn't work out, do you think they're going to consider your offer if you like, hey, I got down payment assistance, and oh, by the way, can you pay my closing costs too? Nobody's going to take you seriously. And nobody is saying these things. I mean, it stings when you hear it, but if your real goal is home ownership, it's better to learn the lesson today than learn the lesson 5 years from now when home prices are 20% higher than they are today. And as we know, incomes are not keeping up with that rate of inflation. So the longer you wait, the farther away that goal becomes for you. Also, if you are in a market where the housing market has slowed down, we are not seeing 20% year over year appreciation anymore. But if you are in a situation where things have slowed down, you might be able to ask for seller paid closing costs. The way that you hide seller paid closing costs, let's say the house is $300,000 and your closing costs and everything total $10,000. Offer to pay, hey, instead of $300,000, I'm going to offer you $308 as a purchase price, but I need you to pay my closing costs. That way the seller is still getting the amount of money that they wanted to get out of the transaction. So that's a hack for you. And then last but not least, when it comes to the battle of offers, what they want to see is, do you have the cash and can you close fast? This is why a lot of the cash offers were being accepted. A lot of the investors won because they were competing with people that did not have the money. They didn't have cash. I don't got $300,000 or $400,000. Most people don't. But, if you're able to go through a pre-approval process and get everything underwritten and you're able to close your loan in a couple of weeks, and or be able to waive some of the contingencies because you have a little extra money, and so if the house doesn't appraise, you're still willing to move forward at a higher purchase price, those are the types of things that are going to allow you to get into the home. That is what Gen Z is doing. They're younger, they're faster, they're smarter, they're adapting significantly quicker than we are, and they're buying these houses much faster than we are. I hate it, but it is what it is. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate everybody spending some time with me today. I hope you all found this information to be valuable. That's everything. Those are all my points. I hope y'all found this information to be valuable. Again, my goal is really simple. All I want to do is put out correct information and prepare people adequately. I'm not Dave Ramsey in such that I'm going to tell you something that's this lofty, unattainable goal, unattainable plan. No shade to Sim, but ain't nobody doing no fire movement either. We trying to live regular lives, regular schmegular lives. For those of you that do have 401ks, please continue to invest in those. They're not bad. You may be able to leverage it for a down payment on a home. That is not me giving you advice because that's not my lane. But what I'm saying is when you have done some of these things that these investors tell you to do, you are able to leverage other assets to get some of the things that you want. It gives you a pot of money that you didn't even realize that you had because you didn't even realize it was coming out your check to be able to pay down your $45,000 automobile that's costing you the house because your debt ratio is too high. I just want to give real advice for real people having real life. That's it. Because I have real life all the time. All the time. I am not above anyone. I have been through some things. I have ups and downs all the time. It doesn't benefit me to say, oh, my life is so perfect. I save every dime of money that I make. No, I don't. I spend it before I get it. It sucks, which is why I'm able to really understand. Like, I get it. I did a stream a couple months ago about somebody making $350,000 living paycheck to paycheck. It happens. I see it all the time. The people that you think have money that sometimes we tend to be intimidated by, they're going through the same problems. The same problems. We all have the same issues. But again, my goal is just to help balance some of the things that are out there, some of the misinformation that is out there. Oh, and while I got y'all, I do have a video that I made about it, but I'll say this really quickly. Maybe sometime, over the past weekend, you saw where they were saying that people with higher credit scores are going to have higher interest rates than people with lower credit scores. That is not true. That isn't true. The only thing that they're going to do is let me rephrase it. What we are doing in the industry is easing the access and lowering the hurdle that somebody with a lower credit score has to jump over before they can afford it. So if you have a $300,000 loan and you have a lower credit score, we might charge you discount points to penalize you. They're just removing it. That's all. That's it. If you got your high credit score, go off. You got it. But it's never going to be a situation where a person with a lower credit score is going to have a better interest rate than a person with a higher credit score. How can someone live paycheck to paycheck, $300,000 a year, make it make sense? It's easy. It's not hard. What you mean, how? It's very easy. You spend more than you make. What you mean? That is not hard at all. $100,000 sound like a lot of money until you had it. It's true. It sounds good till it ain't. That's the bare minimum almost that you need to be able to function. Like when I say function, I mean if you living in one of these more expensive cities like a Charlotte and the average purchase price is $420,000 and your mortgage payment is $3,500 a month and you have electricity, gas, you got to eat, you got to buy furniture. You probably got kids. You got to pay for those kids. Daycare bill, $1,000 per kid. It goes quick. It goes very, very quickly. As far as somebody earning the $300,000, they're probably part of different social clubs. The more money you make, the more creative you tend to be. I guarantee you get $300,000. I promise you're going to find some way to spend it. Think about Elon Musk. He playing on the moon. He playing in outer space. He got very creative. The more money you make, the more creative you get. I promise you. You get into these different clubs. You might not go just to play golf. You might now have a membership to, some sort of country club. Your daughter might want a horse. You go get a damn horse. You get creative. It's not necessarily about clothes and shoes. You don't want to go the places that you used to go. Kevin Hart said it best. He said, it ain't no fun having money by yourself. How much fun is it to have a whole bunch of money and nobody to spend it with? So you go, you find friends to spend your whole bunch of money with. And the cycle continues. The vicious cycle continues. But they absolutely, very easily can spend $300,000 a year. Go on a couple of vacations, What if you make $300,000, you spend, $10,000 on per vacation. You might go on 3 vacations a year, 4 vacations a year. You're gonna have your kids in private school. You got tutoring. You want them to go to the best schools, be the smartest. If you have little girls, you might put them in pageants. You might have them in dance, competition dance. That is expensive. Little boys sports, it's expensive. If your kid plays basketball, and you think that he might go to the league one day, go get him a private coach. I promise you, I can spend it. It's a whole thing. But guys, I really do appreciate the time that y'all spent with me. I really appreciate these watch hours. Please subscribe if you've not. Please like and share this with some friends. And I will see y'all hopefully next Tuesday and not a Mortgage Boss Talk Tuesday on a Wednesday. Y'all have a good night. Bye.